Oh, damn.
Take a look at this, guys. Take a look at this game and tell me you're not excited for its biggest update coming soon in 2026. What started as just a small random game became something so ambitious. We just had a massive new look at the future of bodycam, and this game is turning into something way bigger than just that ultra-realistic shooter that went viral on Twitter. Back when people first saw it, most thought it was another tech demo riding the same wave as Unrecord, another photorealistic FPS trying to shock people with bodycam visuals and social media clips. But what's happening now is completely different. Resad Studio didn't disappear after the viral moment. They didn't cash in on attention and move on. They actually built a full studio around the idea, expanded from 2 people working on the project into a real 30-person development team, and now they're pushing the game into territory that almost no shooter is even attempting right now. And the newest details are honestly insane in terms of ambition. Not because it's adding more content like every other multiplayer shooter does, but because they're trying to make every single movement, sound, reload animation, impact reaction, and interaction feel uncomfortable levels of real. That new self-balancing ragdoll system alone already changes the entire feel of combat. The footage they showed as operators dynamically trying to recover balance after impacts, stumbling, protecting themselves, reacting procedurally instead of just collapsing into canned animations. It looks closer to Euphoria physics from Grand Theft Auto 4 or Red Dead Redemption 2 than a normal tactical FPS. Enemies don't just die, bodies react like there's actual weight, panic, and momentum behind them. That's the direction this entire update is taking. Everything is becoming more procedural, more human, and less video game. Risad Studio literally talked about how they don't want reloads to look like trained military drills repeated perfectly every time. They rebuilt the animation system so stress changes how your operator behaves. Reloading while calm versus reloading while panicked can look different. Your hands shake, your grip changes, you can fail certain reloads. Your body cam physically gets adjusted while sprinting because the camera exists as an object attached to your operator instead of just a visual filter on the screen. When explosions happen nearby, your character instinctively shields their eyes. When you use voice chat, your operator physically raises their hand to the radio. Tiny details like that sound small on paper, but once all of it combines together, it creates something almost nobody else is doing. And this is where bodycam starts separating itself from every other tactical shooter on the market. Games like Ready or Not, Escape from Tarkov, or even Call of Duty still operate inside traditional FPS design language. Bodycam is trying to blur the line between simulation footage and gameplay footage. Sometimes the clips genuinely look like leaked combat recordings instead of a game. The sound design alone is becoming absurdly detailed. The developers explained that they spent huge amounts of time studying how gunshots actually sound through bodycam specifically, not through cinematic microphones or player headphones. That changes everything because real bodycam audio sounds harsher, uglier, and more chaotic than the clean bass-heavy gunfire games usually use. They even talked about how different surfaces affect sound propagation, how enclosed rooms distort gunshots, how concrete reverberates differently than wood, how footsteps carry weight depending on terrain, how explosions affect your perception physically and psychologically. Most shooters treat audio as information. Bodycam wants audio to feel oppressive. They want you to almost fear gunfire instead of enjoying it as arcade feedback. And once you combine that with the new procedural animations, the updated recoil systems, the physical camera movement, and the new ragdolls, the entire game starts looking terrifyingly authentic. The crazy thing is that this all started with 2 developers experimenting with photorealism in Unreal Engine 5. That's what makes this project so fascinating to follow. They used the early access success to stay independent, rejected investment and publishing deals, kept creative control, and built the company around the game itself instead of chasing quick monetization. That's rare now, especially in multiplayer shooters where every publisher immediately wants battle passes, cosmetics, and live service extraction trends. Instead, they've been rebuilding the entire game piece by piece. The upcoming loadout system is another huge step. Attachments now affect recoil, sound, and weapon behavior in realistic ways. Drones and RC cars are being added as tactical tools rather than arcade gadgets. You can literally pilot FPV drones with realistic physics simulation. The developers even said experimenting experienced drone pilots should immediately recognize the handling model. And unlike most games where gadgets become spammy nonsense, they're intentionally limiting how often these tools appear so they stay meaningful during matches. The in-game tablet system is another detail that sounds small until you realize how immersive it actually becomes. Instead of pausing the game to enter menus, your operator physically uses a tablet in real time. You remain vulnerable while navigating loadouts, settings, or gadgets. There's no frozen pause screens, no immersion breaks. The New Trenches map especially sounds brutal. Burned forests, open fields, trench warfare, destructible trees, vertical drone threats, long-range sightlines mixed with close-quarter chaos. It sounds less like a traditional esports shooter map and more like an actual unstable combat zone where situations constantly evolve depending on destruction, positioning. A lot of visually impressive indie projects fall apart the moment gameplay enters the discussion. Bodycam actually seems to be growing stronger mechanically as development continues, and the future potential here is massive if Rayside Studio can stay disciplined, because right now there genuinely is an opening in the FPS market for something like this. A huge part of the shooter industry became either hyper-competitive esports games or fast dopamine live service grinders. Very few studios are trying to make shooters feel raw, grounded, and psychologically intense anymore. Bodycam is filling that gap in a way that almost feels experimental. What also helps is that the studio itself now sounds significantly more confident and structured. They openly admitted 2025 was mostly about surviving the transition from viral indie project to actual studio infrastructure. They had to learn project management, publishing, recruitment, workflows, communication pipelines, and large-scale production almost overnight. Now that foundation is finally built. One team is focused on long-term major features, while another focuses specifically on multiplayer systems, progression, and matchmaking improvements. That's a huge difference compared to earlier development, where everything depended on only a couple people trying to juggle everything at once. And you can already see the results in the roadmap: bigger updates, more consistent communication, better technical improvements, actual long-term planning instead of random experimental patches. The project feels like it finally evolved beyond viral indie prototype status and into a real evolving tactical shooter platform. The realism obsession also gives Bodycam its own identity now. It's not trying to be the next Call of Duty. It's not trying to replace Battlefield. It's chasing immersion harder than almost any modern FPS right now. That alone makes it exciting, because even if it never becomes a massive mainstream game, it's pushing the genre somewhere different. And the craziest part is that this still feels like the beginning. The developers themselves keep talking about larger ambitions for 2026 and beyond: bigger maps, improved progression, more tactical mechanics, more realism systems, more interaction depth, and more content overall. They keep repeating that Bodycam still hasn't reached the version they truly envision yet. Guys, if you'd like to see more of this game in the near future, drop a like right now and subscribe to stay tuned.